Hey guys, DJMK here, and welcome to day 4 of Camp NaNoWriMo. Well, for me, it's my third day of writing, but it is, yes, the fourth day of NaNoWriMo. And it's hard to believe that I've been able to keep up steam this so far. So I think typically I tend to not put too much pressure on myself for the first day because sometimes something would happen, like in this case, well, those people who have periods, gotta know. And you probably saw my second day, but I was super duper drained, so that's kind of why I wasn't really able to go through um, a more coherent stream. I mean, I tend to ramble, but that was extremely rambly the last stream. There's water, by the way. Mm. But yeah, you saw how extremely rambly I was last stream, so I'm doing a lot better now. Thanks you guys for asking. I'm all comfortable. And so far, I've done pretty well. I'm up to 2,600 words ish, and so I only need another 800 today to meet my goal of 25,000 words for my story. But some updates have happened, so a lot of things have happened, and I'm going to go over each and every one of them. So far, I've also been consistent with my piano, and with my piano and my Japanese. I have yet to do my piano practice yet, but I am going to do it a little bit later. But also mainly because I'm starting my stream a little bit earlier than usual, and also my writing a little bit earlier than usual because later on tonight I'm doing a movie night with some friends, and I'm still trying to figure out what titles I really want to watch tonight because I got a huge list of them. I've got because as it turns out, a lot of the titles that are available for Prime users, they actually slash down the rentals for some titles to $0. And I don't know if it's only a one-time thing or they're literally covering the entire roster. But there's some pretty good movies that I really want to check out. I've been in a DC kick lately, so I've been thinking of looking into Batman: Gotham by Gaslight, Batman Ninja. Um, Wonder Woman Commemorative Edition, which is a 2009 film, Bloodlines, which is a sequel that came out 10 years later, and then of course some classics like Love Jones um, and New Jack City. And then there's a couple titles that came across on Prime, like The Kitchen, not The Kitchen starring Tiffany Haddish, Elizabeth Moss, and was that TV Spencer for that person? It's an independent film starring Jason Risey, um, which is an independent film about an Egyptian American who tries to balance between um, be, being a musician and owning a store that his family owns, and of course the classic Mad Money, which stars Diane Keaton, Katie Holmes, and Queen Latifah. So those are some titles that I've been thinking about. Also thinking about Bright Star, which stars Abby Cornish and oh my god, Ben Whishaw, Ben Whishaw, the guy who plays Q on the James Bond films with Daniel Craig. So there's a few films I've been thinking about. So that's why I'm kind of a little bit. I'm going a little bit earlier today because I'm going to be busy the second half of the day. But also I've been thinking of actually doing at some point on Cast, KAST, which basically the replacement for what do I call it? The replacement for Rabbit, which is one of the sites where you could actually share watching movies and stuff. I've been thinking of actually doing a live stream on there at some point, and we could watch a movie together, or even do an audio listen in, because another thing that's been pretty common is people doing stories on YouTube and Twitch, just to get a sense of comfort. From whatever stories they could hear, so kind of like a bedtime story kind of thing. So I was thinking of something similar, but with audiobooks instead, or maybe some book that we're just happen to be reading together, maybe a read in, and then we could talk about it afterwards. Let me know what you think about that. Leave a comment down below of some fun stuff that you want to do together. Of course, I'm not going to be able to keep a recording of it because obviously copyrighted material and stuff, but it would certainly be a lot of fun if we could gather up together and chillax and have a fun time on the internet because this is not an easy time. Um, I also my two of my three music books came in. buy used copies, obviously, because these are very beautiful books, and also these are limited edition, they're not really printed again. First one is The Piano by Michael Nyman. I'm a big fan of Michael Nyman's music, and I really wanted to get this piano book because, in particular, I'm a fan of the song "The Heart Asks Pleasure First," and um, that song. I first heard that song actually, and later on the movie through the comic called "Kiss" by Toho Matsumoto. In fact, the majority of the music and the novelizations I know are either from manga or from Asian dramas. That I tend to come across this knowledge. So yeah, East Asians know where it's at when it comes to educational media. But yeah, found out about the piano from that site, and then later on, I think my dad mentioned the film as well in passing with one of his friends over a dinner party. So I absolutely enjoyed the film. It's directed by Jane Campion. If you've not seen the movie, go watch it. It's really good. It's really really good. And then the second one, it's my dream role. I really want to see it on stage, but the most I could do was like a soundtrack and maybe a few YouTube videos, which I think they should still be available on there. They should have like a properly recorded video of the show because like the original cast is awesome. So it's Elton John and Tim Rice's Aida. It's my dream role to play Aida since I was a kid. Absolutely love this musical. Originally, it was supposed to be an animated film. Directed and produced by Leah Tyne Price, one of the greatest African American sopranos of all time. But then Disney just ended up turning it into a musical instead. But I think they could totally, if they could get back the original cast, they could totally still do the animation of this at this point, and it would be considered original enough that people would still go for it. And looking back on some of the tracks in this musical, some of it actually is pretty good commentary for what's happening right now. Like I was kind of shocked, like, oh my god, some of this stuff is still relevant, and especially like Radames's Change of Heart. Oh my god, it's like basically woke culture, but like millennia earlier, before like woke culture was a thing. Um, but yeah, so it's the original musical star Cherry Renee Scott, Adam Pascal, and Heather Headley. Really want to meet at least three people at some point in my life, and I love that like the opening of the book includes photos from the original production. Because fun fact, it actually started originally off Broadway before it became on Broadway. So there's a conceptual album that you can also find online, and then this book, along with a lot of like the majority of the YouTube productions, were when they became on Broadway off onwards. There's also a production by I think Takarazuka also did a production, but don't quote me on that. Or at least like the Japanese production was mostly female at the time they created it. And then I know in the last few years they've also done revivals as well. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, if they happen to do a revival in my area, I'd be able to audition for it and maybe get a part. Because again, I've been memorizing these tracks for the past. I mean, I've known these tracks for like since I was a kid when it first came out, but I think I didn't really go in depth with the memorization until maybe I was like 17 or 18. So I've had 10 years to work on this. I know figure wise I'm not there yet, but I'm getting up there. But yeah, again, I love that they included the original music, and then like since it was a used copy, they also included actually somebody actually also put in their own transposing of Every Story is a Love Story in here. So that's really really cool. So whoever sold me this, thank you very much. This is really extra. You just made this girl's dream come true. And then apparently they also made some recent edits where they added, like they swapped out some lines for Amneris to make her sound a little bit more serious. Even though, to be honest, I kind of prefer her as a little bit more of a light comic relief, even though she has some serious lines, especially in the second half of the show, for those who know the opera or the musical. And they even added a song, they even added a short song in particular where Aida teaches Amneris how to sew like Aida does, just to cement their relationship, cement their friendship just a little bit more. Because in the original play, there's just not enough scenes between the two of them for them to actually feel a little bit more solid as friends. But yeah, I haven't seen that part yet, but I will check. I did see the line changes, and I'm a little mixed about it because I like the comedy that she had had in the beginning, and I kind of want to keep that in. If I do make my own production of Aida as well, I would like to keep some of the comic relief in. But I also like the idea of having a song between another song between Amneris and Aida. So yeah, I'll definitely look into that. But but yeah, so those are all the ideas that I've had, and also finally to kind of show you, the Admiral has spoken, y'all. She did a post recently on her new site, katemoger.com. For those who remember her site, totallyKate.com, that was actually a fan-run site. This is actually her official site, katemoger.com. And she did a little letter to the fans about trying to get through this pandemic, and it's too apt, it's too perfect. She better be in season 2 of Picard because y'all, the universe needs her right now. Because it's too because this is like too perfect. It's like, and is it bad that I actually read that in her Janeway voice because it's just this is precisely how a commanding officer would sound like. And she recommended some titles. A couple of like 3 of these actually I came across in a J drama. Again, they know where the literature is at. So yeah, check out her blog, katemoger.com. You just scroll down, it's right there. And then I also did my own post on my own blog, mahokunoichi.blogspot.com. It's only like the second post of the year. It seems like I'm going to be posting like once every month on my blog. Um, so yeah, I'm not really a very frequent blogger, but I'm going to try and update as often as possible just to show that like, hey, I'm okay, I'm still here. There's all of that. And I even quoted like Game Ogre's recent post because I'm just a huge fangirl. I've been a fangirl since like Voyager, really. Even though she's working before Voyager, though I didn't really know that was her until then. It was mostly in the voice acting department, believe it or not. She was like one character in Batman the Animated Series, like one of the villains in Batman the Animated Series, and then she was another villain for um I think she was a villain also for Gargoyles. It was very brief, but like she was in like a few episodes with Marina Sirtis, who played Damara in Gargoyles, and of course later on, well before that, Counselor Troy in TNG. So yeah, Gargoyles is basically Trek Central, really. A lot of Trek actors start off there, and then later on, Mass Effect was kind of like this. Mass Effect series is kind of like the second Trek Central, with the majority of the actors from TNG, um, and D Space Nine getting in on that franchise, as well, or just Bioware stuff in general, because Kate Mulgrew also played Fometh, Morgan's mother, in the Dragon Age series, namely Origins and Inquisition. So yeah, I know my trivia, guys. So don't at me, bro. And I thought she was playing Alan Wake. She was playing the like the lady in black and Alan Wake, but that turns out I was a completely different person. But her voice would totally fit that if they had to really recast it, and if they ever get around to doing the sequel, like dang it, guys, do the sequel and relicense the tracks you used for the first game because the first game is really good. Oh gosh, what the heck? But anyway, so yes, so um, I'm gonna be doing. I played Chill Hop the last time. This time I'm gonna be playing Nujabes. I just fell in the mood for that. Then again, I also watched a bunch of Kimmy Tan videos earlier, so I kind of got in the mood for something a little bit more chill. So, Nujabes Modal Soul, one of my favorite albums that he's done. Rest in peace, Nujabes. Miss you a lot. You basically made the anime scene and the chill hop scene the way it is. And the other thing that I totally forgot that was a thing on the new Nano site, there's a timer on the top right, like right here. So I can actually use a timer on here and then start up the clock. So yeah, the new Nano site, I admit I'm just not used to it. It is a little bit more efficient when it comes to being able to like get to like forums and forums messaging. But the fact that I think because I've lost pretty much every single connection that I had before, it's frustrating. Like it's a little bit frustrating, and trying to rebuild it, it's been kind of it's been kind of hard, and also some of the notifications don't work as well, and of course, like some regions don't have municipal liaisons. And it turned out that the requirements changed for municipal liaisons, like I mentioned earlier, because initially it was only winners who were eligible to become municipal liaisons, but now they're saying it's a recommendation. So that means I'm practically eligible to become a municipal liaison, which is great. But I wish they made that a little bit more clear, because the way they wrote it originally, it didn't sound like a recommendation. But anyway, I'm not. It's water under a bridge. I know better now, so I'm gonna give it a shot. So, without further ado, let us get started with my write-in. Technically, this is actually more like round 7. Um, this is more like round 7 of my write-in because I did like 3 rounds of writing sprints yesterday with my new writing group, which is called Writers of Color. So, yeah, they have a thread. So if you want to get invited to their Discord, it's right. Just go into their thread and and ask for an invite, and they will give you a link. So yeah, they're really nice people. So go check them out. But anyway, let's get started with round 4 in terms of our internet writing sprints. And I've gotten to the point where I got to the first day of in the Regency. So to kind of give you a summary of what happened to me my character so far, lightning basically hit her house. Um, lightning basically hit her house just during a Lucy Worsley documentary marathon, um, and as a result, she takes a water slide like ride back to the Regency era, where she wakes up and finds that she is one of the few African nobles in the Regency era. So how does she navigate this when she has a lot of cons striked against her with um, the fact that she is in her early 30s? I might age her down just a little bit, maybe to maybe late 20s, but I'm keeping early 30s for now because it still kind of works. Being in her early 30s, which means a lot of people consider her a spinster at this point, even though she is wealthy, and um, has a lot of modern sensibilities in an era that they were trying to do progress from what I can read in history, but like the government basically mashed out a lot of the progression they would have had. Very violently, in fact. So, yeah, Regency era is just very fascinating, and then like the Victorian era afterwards, it's just like the result of that repression of what could have been. So I bet like if the Regency actually followed through on some of those progressive mores, Victorian era would have been in a completely different space, for all we know. You know, that would make an interesting AU. But I'm getting off topic. But yeah, I decided to like I kind of had this one comedic scene in the class of William Goldman, and my character's a huge nerd, right? So she would know stuff like Outlander and stuff. So she's thinking that maybe like the Stones would be the thing that would bring her back. Um, and I kind of had a hilarious scene for that. So I tried writing that yesterday because like I ran out of steam pretty quickly around like round 2. But then I realized that I kind of jumped in a little bit too soon on that scene because I didn't have enough development between the characters. So um, I maybe write that scene or scrap it entirely. It's probably a good thing that I actually used a different color entirely for that scene because I wasn't really sure where I was going with it. So but yeah, I'm still gonna count it towards my word count anyway. So my first round, of course, if you've seen um, my previous write-ins, I'm gonna start with 15 minutes, and then we shall work our way up. So, all right. So get out your notebooks, get out your Word documents, or whatever your preferred writing medium is, or even vocal recording, because vocal recording's a thing too, or dictation. Um, all right. So you guys ready? All right, we're doing the next round of the first round of this writing session in 3, 2, 1, stato. Oh, it's really out of the way. Okay, I'm not used to this. I'm gonna go with the Google one if it doesn't give me a sound indication. So, all right. So here we go. And I don't typically do prompts, but my writing group gave like a few quotes from Mad Max Fury Road because like she saw black and the black and chrome edition of the film, and he said like it looks a lot better that way. So I'm gonna try it out. I mean, it's also another one of those free Prime films, so we'll see. So I'm distracting myself. Let me start writing. Let me start writing. Okay, I got 3 minutes left. I'm thinking. Yeah, I was tapping out. Oh man. Okay. So I managed to get 306. Not bad. Kind of like that. It wasn't my best, but it wasn't my worst. Like I can feel already. I can already feel that it's not like I'm not feeling that hot. Like already I'm feeling it. Like it's not like I'm already feeling that I'm just not up there creatively just yet. I think it's because like in the opening I'm kind of pantsing it a little bit, and I know what the middle and the end are going to look like, but it's like well some parts of the middle and the end are going to look like, but then it's just getting there. It's feeling like a slog. Like that's what I'm having trouble with. So I think it might not be a bad idea for me to like think up some scenarios, like maybe like some 10 minutes, like coming up with some scenarios for my story before I move on to the next round because it's clear that I'm struggling a little bit. So I'm gonna do. So for our next round, um, we're gonna do some brainstorming. So we're gonna do some brainstorming for a little bit, so that way I don't feel as clueless as to where I'm going, and then I can like write down like the moments that I really want to emphasize, and then I can plug away at my story for a little bit. Uh, I think also the other thing is just the other thing is like the mechanics of my time travel. It's not really solid because originally I'm thinking it's more like errata physics where um where like where like the people exchange each other, like they take on the roles that they were in their respective time periods, um but their appearance and their characteristics completely different, so they're kind of like completely different people but in the exact same roles that they were in. But the more I'm getting into this, it's starting to feel more like Outlander, where it's more the typical time traveler formula where a new person from the future jumps into the past. So that's what it seems to be going towards. So I'm gonna have to see how things pan out, or even a third one which will like Kingdom Hearts um slash the bookworm anime where like the spirit of the person goes into the goes into a character from the past. So there's like three different ways you could possibly go with this. So yeah, I think I'm still trying to figure out that mechanic, and I think that in turn is going to drive how the story goes. So yeah. So I think the biggest problem already that I've come across is my time travel mechanic. Like which one am I going to stick to for this? So yeah, that's I think that's where I'm kind of hitting the trouble right now. But I think if I take some time and figure it out, I think it would be a lot easier. So we're gonna do so for this next round. We're gonna take some time and brainstorm a little bit, and then we'll move forward. So maybe we'll take about let's do another 15 minutes. Why not? 'Cause, yeah, that's the part I'm having a lot of trouble with. It's just the mechanics of the time travel. I think once I get that down, I think the rest of the story will fall into place. It's just right now, it's not doing it for me. Some of these words might stay in, but other things would not. So I think I'm gonna make the text green for world building. So yeah, I just realized it says pantster, not pantser. There we go, pantser. All right. Oh, the text is incorrect. It's actually it's higher. I'm at 967, but I'll fix that. All right, let me tell myself now because I think I'm starting to like brainstorm now. So I'm gonna give myself. Actually, I'm gonna give myself 20 minutes, so I'll get plenty of time because I'm gonna get stuck into a rhythm. So here we go. Three, two, one, start though. I got 5 minutes. Okay. But I think I made a lot more progress now that I've actually thought this out. So I'm gonna explain like the time travel rule that I'm going to put in a moment. Just give me one sec. Yeah, I'm probably gonna stick with the Google one because I mean I can get so sucked in to the writing that it's just yeah, it's not going off. Like no matter what I've been doing, it's like yeah. So far I'm not a fan of the NaNoWriMo timer. I'm gonna stick with the Google one that I've been using before because the Google one actually gives me an indication of where I'm going. Whereas the NaNoWriMo one, um, it just it just doesn't give me a signal. So yeah. So I've got about what should I call it? Wow, 475 words. So like when I put my mind to it, it really works. So yeah, so I ended around 40, not 39 actually. It just kept going. It just wasn't giving me any indication. So, which is good because, like, I mean, this gave me a lot of development already. Like, I got maybe like one, two, three got one, two, three character development moments for Gwen. So that's pretty good. Of course, I need to add more characters at some point. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good with this. So I was going home, obviously, on my laptop, and I get progress. So I just need 47 more words today, and then I'm gonna be on goal. So yeah, I've been curving up a little bit. So at the rate I'm going, I'll be finished April 29th, and it's April 4th right now. So and it is yeah. So I'm only going for like 2,500 words. So I'm not doing anything too crazy, but um, even so, I feel like I'm going pretty well. This outline has certainly been helpful. It's given me a lot of ideas, and I think I've narrowed down my my time my time travel my time traveling complication. So, like I said, I listed a few rules. Um, so initially, I thought it was going to be kind of like the errata slash Kingdom Hearts slash Bookworm rule, where Gwen's essence or Gwen's self goes back to the Regency era, and so either um, Miss Deverell, her Regency persona, is either back up here in the present or she's just occupying Miss Deverell herself. However, as I was writing the intro of the story, the fact that like her stuff and some of her stuff ends up there, and also on top of that, um, what do I call it? The knowledge from her Regency self didn't go with her, or she's not able to call upon it. Um, kind of put that into question because with like the Ascendance of a Bookworm story, for example, Ascendance of a Bookworm, um, the um, the main protagonist is able to summon up Mind's memories or Main's memories, even though Main pretty much ceased to exist after episode 3 or 4. So so yeah, she's still able to kind of access Main's memories, even though Main is no longer Main. If that makes any sense. Um, versus um, Gwen's basically given no indication that she could do that. So that's what kind of threw me off. I was tempted to just cave in and go with the traditional Outlander Lost in Austin rule, where it's like a significant spiritual place or a ley line or some phenomenon just took her back. So basically, the typical time travel method. It would be the easiest to explain why she doesn't have that knowledge, but um, she somehow personifies the Regency era. Okay, considering her knowledge. But it would just be like out of all the methods, that one would need the most explanation. So then, but then as I was typing out some time travel rules, another one popped up, and I'm calling it the Cupid's arrow rule. shout out to Tom Zoller for inspiring me for this, because I think this helps certainly explain why she doesn't have any like genuine lived knowledge of the Regency, because Miss Deverell is essentially her Regency persona. So combination of one like a combination of Cupid's arrow and Onward. So those who have seen Onward, you probably know what I'm talking about. Where you're still yourself, but you basically occupy a persona from back in that period, like just in that time period. So the illusion can shatter. So like I decided this. The illusion can shatter if you perform an anachronism, do a dramatically out of character action for the period. The person is more sensitive to the magical elements. So in other words, maybe like a fellow time traveler, or somebody who's more spiritually sensitive, like force sensitive or force practitioner, for example, would be able to tell right away that it's a glamour, it's an image, not necessarily like the genuine person per se, or the character or the main character decides to basically stop playing along. She just basically he or she decides to be honest about what's happening and lower his or her defenses. Doesn't mean that you lose the glamour entirely after that, but you just the person now was aware that like that's like he's not part of the time. She's not part of the time period. Like actions can throw it off, but then if people are not hyper focused on it or something, then they wouldn't be able to tell that that's the thing. But if somebody's aware, like, wait a minute, like this is how you shouldn't be acting, then that's when it might be like, wait a minute, you're not from here, are you? Um, though, of course, obviously, they wouldn't initially think it was time travel um, to be the reason until they explain it. So I'm thinking a combination of Cupid's arrow and Outlander's time travel rules that would be the best indication for the story. So that would explain why some of Gwen's items ended up there, but then she still personifies Miss Deverell the Noble, because Miss Deverell is a projection. Because kind of like Fantastic Four, where like the radiation hit at the moment, like they at the moment they were thinking the moment they were thinking something, and that's how their powers personified. I'm thinking that a similar thing that happened with this, with the way my character teleported. She, she's watching a Regency. Like the first episode of the documentary with Lucy Worsley that she watches, it covers up to the Regency / Georgian period. So, and there's one part where she's basically thinking about how much simpler it would be if she were wealthier in the Regency era, and that's about when the lightning strike happens, and so that's how she got thrown back. But of course, there were complications. The fact that she she is being an African noble on top of it's going to make it a complication as is, because some of the stuff that's been going on in that period. Um, like the fact that like slavery was abolished very recently at that period, and on top of that, all the stereotypes that are still going around, and then of course being a 30-something, most would consider it a spinster at that part of spinsterhood at that point, and especially like unless you are wealthy, like in the case of Gwen's persona, Miss Deverell, she pretty much they're pretty much like the palm of the side. Like, really? How come you're not married already? Must be something wrong with you if you're not married by now. So, um, so there's some of that going on. So, so I kind of wanted to explore that a little bit. So it's obviously like there are going to be complications in every society, and some of them are just much more tolerable than others. And if you compare the Regency to um, modern era, in some ways there are some very similar things where like you got to be called upon, you got to ask somebody out and all that other stuff. But then in other ways, um, there are things that are much more different. Like for example, when you marry, the woman doesn't lose every single thing. The woman doesn't lose every single thing and every single right to every property the moment you get married, unless you write a prenup or something. Um, it's more guaranteed that people are going to get like the equal split, unless you actually say that like I don't care what happens. So So there are some things that are easy to pull off in the modern era than the Regency, and then there are some things the other way around where it's a lot easier to pull off in the Regency than the modern era. So that was pretty interesting. So yeah, so I'm doing a combination of Cupid's Arrow and Outlander. How I'm gonna pull this off is gonna be pretty tricky. I'm gonna have to see. Again, I'm just gonna have to. I need to write it out and see what happens. And then I wrote down some moments that I wanted to do in my story. A lot of it feels very derivative of other works, but um, as long as you make it an homage and you make it obvious that it's an homage, I don't think it matters too much because people get inspired by other authors all the time. So I don't think it's a bad idea that you do. I mean, come on, like a good chunk of the rules I just wrote down earlier are inspired by other pieces of media. And like I said earlier, my main character is an unashamed nerd. So of course she's going to be thinking of other works while she's trying to navigate her situation. I mean, what is history but a continuation of a conversation that started millions or billions of years ago? Just saying. There's not exactly a completely original idea in the world. So there is only the originality. The only originality you have is your personal interpretation of it. And some people are going to share your vision, but it's like ultimately if you get it down, you can take the credit of just putting it out there, you know? So that's a little bit of a thought, food for thought. So we've been live for about an hour. We've done 2 rounds. Let's see how much of this album I have left. Oh, I'm on the last track already. No. Hmm. I might do the compilation next actually, because the track that I was thinking of was not on Modal Soul. I think it was probably on Spiritual State, but I have to listen to the entire album to be sure. But it's very piano heavy, which I know is not. I know it's not. That's not really a good clue considering a lot of Ujawaz's tracks are very piano heavy, especially like the first 3 albums that he did. But um, when I hear it, I'll know. Spiritual State's a good album too. Like I could fall asleep to that. I think it was on Spiritual State actually. Maybe the sky is tumbling. I got an ad. No, I think it's Sky is tumbling because the intro sounds familiar. Come on, Grammarly. I know it's not easy. Just I'm not using you. I was an English major. Please stop showing up. I guess I'm tired of like the Grammarly commercials too because I am so tired of them. Like they've been popping up all the time, even though I'm just God. Okay, he wants to hear it. Yep, it's Sky is Tumbling from Spiritual State. Yep, it's a really good track because like there's like a certain piano sound that I really wanted to hear, and yeah, it was on Spiritual State. So if you're not listening to Spiritual State or Modal Soul, I recommend you go ahead and do that. That's like some of his best work, I think, as well as the lo- the Lovesick tetralogy. All right. So on that note, let's do one final word sprint. One more. All right. So this time I'm gonna go much longer. This is my first one that I'm doing like this. This time we are going to go half an hour, which means I can brainstorm as much as I want and see where I want to take off. So, all right, get your recorders, dictation software, notebooks, and word processors ready, as well as your favorite music. I'm gonna start this up again because this track's really good. All right, guys, it's been a very big pleasure to share this experience with you. It has certainly been a lot of motivation for me to do these, and it looks like the even number days have been my biggest motivation. So I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna keep going with the even numbered days. So the next virtual write-in will happen on Monday. So keep an eye out for that. All right, let me just type up some stuff. All right. So got that done. So we are going to start up our first ever 30-minute word sprint. My goal, I would love to hit the 4,000 mark, so that way I don't have to think about writing too much tomorrow, especially considering tomorrow I'm going to be making masks for first responders. So I'm going to make a video on that. Let's see. But anyway, I'm going to make masks for first responders, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, we're going to start the timer at 30 minutes. Get your documents ready and your outlines ready or whatever stuff you want to do, as well as some good music. And let's do this. In 3, 2, 1. Wait, I forgot. There's no sound in this thing. I gotta do Google. Because I forgot. This thing just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it for me. Okay. Gonna delay this by gonna delay this by like what by like 2 seconds. Alright. Okay guys. We are going to start this up. I've been saying this several times, but I'm generally gonna start this up now. In 3, 2, 1, stato! And starting this. Okay. If you're brainstorming or doing whatever, it's all up to you. It's Camp Nano. You can do whatever you want here. I got the time pretty well actually. Okay, I got 12 minutes left. I've got about 154 words to 4,000. Uh, it's a trial. It's definitely a trial. If I included the comments that I made in the sides, I think it would have been 400 already, but 4,000 already. But alas, it is not included. Excuse me. Whew. All right, we are done, and we have for total words 4,155. So I managed to get to a pretty good point. I'm actually really happy with the progress I'm making. Because usually I'm slogging, but today I did pretty well. I wrote 1,500 words today, which is good. I'm well past my goal for today and for just in about 10 words for tomorrow, which is not a big deal because I could easily like get it done. But yeah, I feel really, really good right now. Gotta pause the music. But yeah, I feel really, really good right now in terms of the progress of where I'm going with my story, getting the mechanics down, and a little bit of an outline of where I want it to go, and what moments I want to highlight. Um, it's certainly been very, very helpful. I don't have a name for my story yet, let alone how much progress I'm going to make during this month, but uh, I feel like I'm certainly getting back to the steam of things and getting back to the good stuff. So, like I mentioned earlier, check out Nujabe's music. Unfortunately, NaNoWriMo just has no just has no signal whatsoever when it comes to their timer. So it looks like you have to be looking at it constantly, or just use Google. Like I've been using Google's timer and it works just fine with me. I also put a post on my blog, mahokunoichi.blogspot.com, in case you want to read my post that I did yesterday. Also, Kate Mulgrew's post, and it comes with some pretty good book recommendations. So definitely check that out. And of course, the NaNoWriMo's website. Feel free to friend me. This is my profile on NaNoWriMo, so if you want to be friends, let's be friends. Like, absolutely. I am totally open to that. I've done NaNoWriMo for 8 years now. Um, gets 9 in November. But I've been doing NaNoWriMo for 8 years now. 2021 would be my 10th year. So I'm or is it, let me see. Yeah, 2022 would be my 10th year. So 2 years from now, it'll be my 10th year. So kind of hard to believe that part's coming up pretty soon. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Here's all my social media in case you want to check out some of my other stuff. I'm going to get back to the gaming pretty soon. Um, just don't know when, but I'm planning on getting back to the gaming pretty soon. And here is all of my social media, like, not social media, all the things that are going to happen next. Like I um, mentioned earlier, my next Write With Me will be on Monday, April 6th on Twitch and YouTube. Whether it's going to be around this time, or maybe around my 6 p.m. window, which I typically tend to write in, I have no idea. I'm still thinking about it. And then I also have a special discount on my Fiverr shop. If you use the code OSTARA, you have a free gift until the spring, for the entirety of the spring. Though I think I might extend it to Lunasa instead, especially considering everything that's been going on. And of course, Odun Day on June 14th, provided that things will improve at that point. And of course, the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. And there's a steep discount for those who show up in costume. But anyway, I'm gonna go get some rest. Maybe I'll jump back in again, depending on if I feel up to it or something. I'm also going to be here on Monday for the next write-in. But until then, stay safe, stay classy, and of course, may your heart be your guiding key. Bye, everybody, and have an awesome writing day, whether you're starting it now or you're starting it later on. Or if you're just taking a break today, totally fine too. It's Camp Nano. You can do whatever you want. Anyway, take it easy in this quarantine life, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.